Hi everyone, and welcome to Dismas the Pilgrim, the Puzzle Pilgrim. Today we're going to be playing some daily puzzles from Netflix, namely the Starstruck and Sudoku. We're also going to be doing some puzzles from the New York Times, being the Wordle and the Pips. We'll do some daily puzzles and general puzzles on chess.com, and maybe a couple in the Telegraph as well. We'll start with Starstruck, as it is my favourite. And the rules for Starstruck are that we need to place a single star in each row, column, and each coloured region. Additionally, stars cannot touch. We don't track the wins on easy, as I use it as a warm-up. That said, let's get into it. Okay, so there's a few tricks that we can use here straight away. I'll go through them in no particular order. So the first one is across this top row. With us having to place one star in the row, it will have to be in purple, which means that the star can't be in the rest of purple. What else? Actually, didn't need to clear that line. So in these three rows, we will have to place a square in brown, we will have to place a square in green, and the remaining star will have to go in orange, which means the rest of orange is out. In these right-hand two rows, we need to place a star in grey and a star in blue, which removes from here. Additionally, with grey being just a region of 2 along the same row, both of these squares will touch both of them. So if there was a star here, it touches both, and if there was here, it still touches both, which actually gives us this one. It also places grey, places red, green. We get yellow and brown lining up, like it showed those two, which we didn't really need, as we get orange has to be here, purple has to be here. It was a nice, easy one. I'm sure I could have done it a lot quicker if I wasn't starting to explain, and there was probably a slightly quicker way to get there with the logic as well, but I wanted to explain as much as I could with the different shapes. Like another thing I could have stopped to show you is the seed shape like this. All of them touch here, so I could have eliminated that square straight away as well. Yes, the streak is broken because I wasn't able to stream yesterday. So at the heart, the rules are exactly the same. It's just you tend to need a bit more logic steps to get there. Okay, so that center looks very busy, but the first thing I want to show you is for these two, for this row and this column, the only way to satisfy the rule, all three rules, of we need one in a row, one in a column, and one in the coloured region all at the same time when they intersect like this, start to go here. If it was anywhere else in purple, then it would affect our ability to put it in either a row or a column. So that's a very useful one to clear straight away, as all the rest of purple is just gone. Next thing I'm spotting working down the rows we've got here. So the only way to place a star in each row here is here and here, which means the rest of brown and the rest of green have to be out. just look at columns in a similar way to what I've just done with the rows. Hey Hazel! If we look at the columns in the same way that we just looked at the rows to get this section of green and brown in, similarly, these are the only places in these rows that we can, in these columns that we can place, which means for the rest of these coloured regions they have to be white. Nowhere else that those coloured regions could place, otherwise we'd have to exclude the full coloured region and we wouldn't be able to place a star. Oh hey Jenny, thanks for making it. This shape here also lets us exclude that. So now we definitively know which rows those regions have to take up. Hey Tab, glad you could make it. So what else? That's this L shape. All three of them touch this one at the same time, so we can exclude that. This Tetris block, all of them either touch or see this square, which is already excluded, and they all touch or see this one. So if the star was in any of these, this would be excluded, and also if it was here, it would stay excluded as well, because it's on the same column. This shape allows us to exclude from here, because these two touch and this one sees it at the same time. The same shape here, which allows us to exclude these two, because these two touch, and this one sees, and then we could do the same for the shape the other way. Okay, so yeah, it doesn't exclude much, but it's still something. So in this section here, we have 1, 2, 3 regions that are fully encompassed in it, which means we can exclude any squares from other regions with it. Let's see if I can get there to the end before the ad break starts. Should be one minute or two. So in here we have no, they are not fully contained because Brown's got that. I've already excluded everything in the bottom two rows apart from grey and orange. You know what, because it's only a minute or so, rather than trying before the break, I will pause so we can get into the puzzle properly, because it looks like it's the difficult parts of the logic coming up now that I've got to try and figure out. So we'll go to break, and then we will carry on with the rest of it. Be back shortly. welcome back. Okay, so we need to start trying to narrow down a little more. Orange, yellow, and brown don't line up. It's grey and it's brown here. We do have blue and orange fully lining up, so we can actually exclude quite a bit there. And now that that square is excluded, they do line up, so we can exclude there. And now that we've excluded there, this is also in a row. Excluding there, giving us the green. It's now 2 across the row, but we already excluded everything around. Brown and yellow now line up, excluding all of them, giving us the orange, grey. This is now 2 across the row, so we can do this. It's now the only place along this column for red. Along this row, sorry. Okay, so we will need to place a star either here or here because of the way brown and yellow are paired, which excludes that one permanently, as both of them are touching. So exclude that, which gives us this one, this one. There we go. I quite like that hard one today. I think both of them were pretty good today, actually. Yeah. So with that, we will move on to the Sudoku. The rules of Sudoku are we need to place the numbers 1 through 9 in each row, column, and 3x3 box. Additionally, I do my best not to use any notes on the easy. Occasionally, the layout just forces me to, because it's the only way to keep pairs in mind. If you don't know what I mean by pairs, because you're new to the channel, I'll explain that as we find any. So let's start cycling through the numbers before I start looking at rows and columns. So firstly, the 1. It's the only one that I can see. This is the only group of 2 in this box. And these 2's down into here, so let's cross into that 2. And we're back with this being the only place for 2, the last one. That. Okay, so this 3, this 3, and this 3 shows that's the only place for 3 there. That's all I can get with that at the moment. Now, nothing quick pause. 5, this is the only place for a 5 in this box. And this 5 and this 5 and this 5 all look into here, giving us this. We end up with paired 5s there and there. No, it's there. It's not much. Yeah, it's the only number that's remained in this box is 6, which with these 2 gives us this 6. Not seeing anything else quickly. 7 with the 6s, so we'll move on to the 7s. This one, these 2 give us this 7. These 2 give us 7 here. This 7 has to go here. These two goes this one. These two look down. This one looks across. Again, there's this the 8s. Okay, this one's a little hard to see without the notes, but I'll walk you through it. But using this 8, we know that the 8s have to go here, which looks across and excludes these two boxes. We also know, because we need to place it in the column and within this 3x3 box, that an 8 is going to have to be somewhere here. That looks up, and using the knowledge that we already have, this is now the only place left for it. I can't see anything else for the 8s quickly. We use these ones to get a 9 here. So I'm going to have to use the row for this one. So we can't have a 9 here because of this one. We can't have a 9 here because of this one. So the only place for a 9 in this row is here. That will start cycling back through because we've filled out quite a bit. So in this box we need a 1 there. We end up with paired ones there. Oh, so this one has to go here because again it's the only place for it in the column this time, I think. No, because we get there and there, we get here and there, and then we get all across the top. So now I can't place that. All the 2s. This 3 and this 3 is this one. We're left with heads here, so I can that. Still not seeing anything for the portals. Okay, yeah, no, I've just spotted another one. It's a little long-winded though. Using this 4, we know that the 4s have to be here and here. That looks across and excludes here. We know that the 4s have to go here. Looks down and excludes here. Leaving here as the only place for a 4, which leaves a 4 having to go here. This 4 looks across. This one, there has to be a 4 across this row. It's these guys. Spot. These two look up, and this one looks across because the one. Yeah, that's all I can have about at the moment. We're only missing a 5 in that box. That 5 is this one. And we've prepared 5s here. Sixes having to go through here, but they are paired, so there's nothing I can do with that. We already have all the 7s, so we'll go back to the 8s. We're only missing an 8 in that box. Okay, so using the column, we can't put an 8 here. We also can't put an 8 here because of that one, so we need to put an 8 there. Which leaves us with paired 8s there. Here. So 9. The 1s are spread out across here, here, and here, which unfortunately they don't solve down. Okay, so now we've got this 3 and this 3 being this one. These 2 are down, and across with this one is that 3, which solves the 2s. That actually gives us the 1 for. What else do we have? 5, so we need 6 or an 8, which are paired. So can't do that at the moment. In this top box, this is 1. It's there. That one. This one. 1s. here. This sixth king looks in giving us this one. This one. And this one gives us this. These two look down, giving us this 6. We are now only missing 8 there, which gives us this one. We're only missing 9 in this box, which these two gives us 1. Our final 9 is that box here. Pause quickly. Oh, still got 4s grouped quite tightly on each other. 5 gives us this one. These two together gives us this one. Which actually gives us this 4. This one. And then the last couple of boxes have to be 8s. So there's the easy. And that wasn't too bad. Thank you. Oh, they finally fixed the order of the buttons. Only just noticed because for a while they had the medium, the hard the wrong way around. So the only difference with the medium is I will end up using notes because it's the only way I can see anything clearly. Now I can't spot anything at once, but as much as I will use notes, I do start by cycling through and seeing for anything really useful. I'd usually find something, but I'm not seeing it. Okay, there we go. So these two 5s gives us this one. These two give us this one. That is about it for the 5s at the moment. Not seeing much for the 6s. And the 7s. And this one might be a note heavy medium. Expecting that we'll see a few places where we just where once we put notes in, there'll only be like one number in a certain square, so we can solve that. We get 90. I'll do one more pass. With just numbers. Start maps. So this one gives us that. Nothing clear with 2s. This 3 gives us 1 here. That's about it. Still nothing clear with the 4s. Nothing new with the 5s. We need a 6 here. Which actually gives us a 4 here. Which doesn't help any further for the current stage. Nothing new with the 7s. 8s. Okay, so now we'll start doing the notes for each group by 3. So we already have the 1 here, 2s, here, here. These go across, like that. 4s, and up here. 5s, here. And what are the 6s? And same for the 8s. Okay, so this is what I meant by having numbers left on their own. 5 is actually the only one that goes there because it's just the only one that can, which gives us, which should have gave us the 2 there. So why did that not work? I'm gonna go back through my notes for that box and see what I missed. For some reason I didn't press 3 there. Yeah, which means the 3, but we still do get the 5, which is useful. And let's move on to this one. And we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think it's anything excluding 6s. 7s. All the 8s. Kind of what I expected out of that one. And move on to this box. Lots of 2s, really, 3 and 4. 5s actually match the 1s, which makes this a 1-5 pair. So we can remove the 2 and then just not place anything else in these boxes. Let's move to the 6s. So that's our 1-5 pair. We actually have these 3 boxes for them. And at 7s, we've got no exclusions at all for the 7s, apart from the triple that we've already, the double that we've already set up. And I think we have, yeah, we've got something similar for the 8s. At the 9s, however, are around the top here. Okay. So, 1s here. So again, we have a 1, 2, we've got another pair set up already. Fix this 2. Which gives us 3s here, which actually excludes that. 4s here, which includes that 4, which I think actually solves all 4 in that box. We already have 5. So thanks to this 1-2 pair, the only place left for 6 is here. With this being a 7-8 pair, I'm going to try and do them as I spot them. We remove the 7 and 8 from the other boxes. That actually gives us this 6. Over here, that puts 6s in a column, in a row, which removes that 6, which forces the 6 to be there. That gives us a 7-8 pair across this row, removing the 7-8 from here, here. We've got a 2-6 pair here, so we can remove the 2 from there. So, yeah, we've ended up with a couple of pairs across that section. Thanks to the way that the pairs have all resolved out, that gives us the 4 here and the 3 here. So now we can move on to the right hand side. 1-2 pair excludes from here, which with that here. Choose here again because of this one and these having to exclude from that. 3s, use this one, and this one to go here and here. 4s are one here. Right back 5 and 6, and the 7 gives us these 2, so that's a 2-7 pair across that row. Then we get a 1-8 pair here, and then the 9s, we have a 4-9 pair and a 3 and 7. Yes, we can do that. That hasn't created anything else up for me yet. So we'll move on to this bottom left box. Once here we do have 2. Not much to exclude 3s, which I'm a little surprised at with how well we've done on so far. 4s can go here. Here. 6s. So that's a 4-6 pair, so I can remove that 1 and that 3, which actually forces this to be 1. Apparently I'm wrong. How was that? Oh, I missed that I actually had a 6 in that box, so let's undo that. And remove the 6s. Why was I doing 6s? That is very wrong. 7s, we've got the 7 and these paired 7s here, so they match up with the 3s over here. 8s. A lot of room for the 8s. And then 9s. Okay, so I think that's a 5-9 pair, so I can remove the 8s. Put 7 in there. Okay. Right, so we already have the 1. The 2s end up here. 3s are all the 1s column. 4s end up in the same place. You already have 5. 6 has to go here. Thanks to those 7s, we end up 7s here, so we get a 2-7 pair, so nothing else can go in this column. Which I should have been able to spot just from if I just looked at the column. Just notice that this is the only one left in this column, so we already have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this has to be an 8. Press the right button, and we get 9s here. Okay. So we already have the 1. 2 look across. Actually, the only... Oh no. Yeah, I think the only place for 2 in this column is here. So the reason it can't be here and here is thanks to the paired 2s here. So it can't appear in either of these. It can't appear here because we have paired 2s here. Can't appear here because this one, so this is the 2. Also, there's a 2 there and a 7 here. I have 3s along this whole column. 4s, we don't have much to include them. 5s. So slowly. 6s, we actually end up with a 6 having to be here. 7s, space ball. Story 8s. Okay, so now I need to find where I haven't actually sorted out pairs properly. Oh, it looks like I actually have a 2 here. So let's see if we get any cascade from this. Sometimes when you're left with a single digit from the notes, the whole puzzle can just cascade down. But this is not one of those times. Okay, so I think, yeah, across here we've ended up with this as a 4-3 pair just across the row. So we can do this 3, this 4, 7, 8 pairs. What's that? So yeah, like that's kind of the next step. Also, like finding more stuff like that, so it will just cascade down. Start clicking boxes with numbers in just to try and highlight stuff. Not anything coming out of here so far.
Okay, so with the 7s, since it's one by pair, they're going to force me to just column, looks down, forces a 7 here. Which is this 8, I think. Yeah, that's the only place left for a 7 in that box. We'll have to make it up there. And it's 8, and I think we've got the cascade now. I think it will solve down just from following the notes. Oh, what am I missed? Quite. Yeah, so that wasn't a bad medium. Just had to unlock my phone briefly for the track. Thank you. We'll get the. That's the wrong puzzle. Sudoku. So we've got the hard one set up, but rather than getting started and having to pause immediately, we're unfortunately going to have to go to ad break. But I think that timed it quite well, getting through them, without having to pause a puzzle. So again, yeah, I've noticed, but it's fine. It's a place for chill outs, so not a worry. But yeah, we're going to go to ad break and then we'll crack on with the hard and see how we go with that. Back in a minute. Sorry about that. getting into turn on my needs it during the break. So it looks like we've not really got anything free. I've got to go note. Here, we got 6 and 7. The 8s. Space. Okay, so the 9s and the 5s agree here. But unfortunately, it's the 1s and the 8s we can't quite sort down. No, not really. Not for me. How about you? Are you finally starting to catch up with all the shit that Liam left for you? Oh, there's even more. Oh no. Like, it's sounding more and more like you're just cursed at work. Okay, so that was a 6, 7, 8, so remove everything else for 3 boxes. 4, 5 pair here, so we can move this 4, 5. 1, 2 pair left there, which gives us 3 here. So here we have 2s. If there's that much hidden fuck up, like, it's a good job. It sounds like it's a very good job he's gone from your company. Eight's gonna go here. 9 go place, but that does actually go as this 8. I'm pretty sure these are gonna clean up at some point soon, but I can't see it. Like, just fully like blackballed from the industry. 2. I'm not surprised with the amount of work you've seen Boomlin put under after things have come out. It's nothing excluding any of Like, it, you've got to really try to get blackballed from like an industry entirely. Like, that's like, it's a little impressive that he's managed to screw up that hard. Okay, so unfortunately I can't quickly spot my pairs, so we're just going to keep moving on to boxes. 67. 8s, here, 9s, yeah. Okay, so 1's there. Not a lot to exclude the 8. This is 308. Yeah, but that does give us this 3. Which doesn't help the rest of the box at the moment. Okay, so we have the 2s in this plus the 3s. These 2 cells at the bottom. 4s across most of it. Apparently my chat dock just decided it was going to cut out. That's real nice of it. I've had to refresh it. There, right, so I've already got the 5 and the 6, the 7s. Yeah. I don't have anything to exclude 8s in this box whatsoever. Those ones were really 2 and 3. And then the 4s matching. Already got 6 and 7. 8s. Yeah, and 9s. So now I need to look through and see if there's any good. Okay, so a little one that doesn't really give me much at the moment. This 4-5 pair here will exclude 4s and 5s from the rest of the row. So I say it doesn't give me much, but it's actually good. That was a bit more effective than I was expecting. Okay, so that's also given us a -4 here. I don't think it's gonna cascade much. So this ends up being a 4-5 pair, so the paired 1-2s here, so that doesn't help exclude anything else from the box, or from other boxes, I should say. But we do need to carry on trying to find so 5 here. This 4, this 5. So that leaves us with this 1-3 pair in this box, so we can remove this 1, 3. So this is what I meant by, I've got to start looking for patterns to help exclude that. Okay, I'm not actually spotting anything. Ooh, but I have spotted that this is a 598 triple here. So, like, no matter what, the 598 are gonna have to be a long key, which means I can exclude 5 and 9 from, well, 5, 9, and 8 from every other cell in this range, and it also means along the row I can do the same thing. So that leaves us with some just think. Yeah, it's already resolved the row. Okay, I didn't swap that, then I can make it 2 here. So we're getting a couple of bits out of this. Again, I don't think it's going to cascade down the whole puzzle for us. But there's going to be like little sections like that repeating through where we'll get to like the end stage of the puzzle. Just have to keep an eye out for them. See if we can look at anything, but solving some of it down. So all being tiny numbers, occasionally I can be a little blind for when there's stuff left. Okay, so like this. So these 8s in this one actually give us an 8. That has to just go there. That's a 7-6 pair, so this has to be the 9. So yeah, it looks like it's just going to be little bits like that. Constantly working through for like each breadcrumb. Okay, so column wise, we have a 7-6 pair here, which means we can remove 7 and 6 from the rest of the column. I can already tell that's 5, but I want to do it properly. So only a 5, but a 1-2 pair here. That doesn't quickly line up with anything else, but we haven't left the 7-6 pair. That gives us this 5. But it also allows us to remove 7 here. There's no other 6s, but that just gives us this one, and then to want to finish the 8s. So now I'm just going to work through following the notes like we did towards the last puzzle, and we'll see how close to solved that gets us. I didn't think it was going to cascade down fully. It's got us a good way in. There isn't much left. So again, just so I can see what I'm doing, because I get a little blind to it sometimes. It's just a nice visual aid, the way that they highlight. I've only just realised that we also finished sorting the 7s and 8s on like that little cascade there. can't solve the threes yet. But the moment I get one of them, it's all cast. I think this might be the last cascade that I'm looking for. Done really well on this one so far. I haven't actually used a single look ahead. Okay, so no, nothing where it's been left on its own. I've not spotted it yet. So I am going to have to try very hard to find. So although these are paired across the row, they're in different boxes, so I can't exclude like that. What else is there? Quickly scan all rows and columns, see if there's anything simple that I might have missed. Thing. Be a quad? No, this one stops it. 5-9, 5. Yeah, okay, so we do actually have a 5-9 pair along here that I haven't spotted. Well, yeah. Unfortunately, I can't do the same with these because of this 5 here. It's got to be close. No, I am not seeing the last little bit. Pretty sure a look ahead would solve this. Just don't have to resort to it when I've done so well without it on this one. I get this far into the difficult one without using any look aheads. It's looking like, unfortunately for everyone, I'm going to have to use a look. So look aheads, like the logic is, you've got to pick something you think is going to have the most impact in the puzzle. And I feel like it might be the 4's the biggest impact. I'm going to start with this. Actually, this is a 1, 2 pair here, which forces this to be 5, which is a 9 here, 5 here, here. 1, 4, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that turned out not to be as impactful as I'd hoped. Okay, so that's not as impactful as I'd hoped. So what if we try it the other way around? See if it has a bit more impact. It's still a 5-9 pair. Get 1, 4 here. That's even less impact. Okay, so that 4, 5 pair is not how we get into the puzzle with a look at. The 5s and the 9s don't look like they're going to have much. What if this is a... This one. So 2, 3 pair. Wow. Usually look aheads end up giving me a lot more from a puzzle than this. Might just be that I'm being blind. It's 3, 2, 1, so that makes that a 4. It's 2. Two, 1. Okay, so I think if I followed that correctly, that means that this can't be correct. Because the moment you follow the logic down, you end up at a point where you need both of these to be cycle it back a little, just to make sure. So this one here, maybe 2, 3. Do it this way around, where I start here, I get 2 here, which gives us 1. Is this a 3? Yeah, so we end up with these. So if it's this way around, the puzzle breaks, which means this will have to be a 1. So now that we've done that, we will fold down. Let's see if that gets us the rest of the solve. It looks like it will. Like, there may have been a pure logic way to get there, but unfortunately I just could not see it. But that does take us all the way to the end of the difficult. So we've timed that well. We're only about a minute or 2 away from an ad break. So what we'll do is we will call it with the Netflix puzzles for now, because no one has used channel points to boost for a bonus puzzle at all. So we're gonna go to break and then come back with the pips to give people time to have the chance to pay for the bonus word using their channel points. If no one does bid for it, we'll end up using daily, which is not a strong start, usually. So yeah, we will be back in just a bit. Welcome back. We're done with the Netflix puzzles and the main rotation for today. We are now on to the New York time, where we're starting with pips. I spotted just before the message came through. So the first thing we do with pips is we figure out our judge. So pips is about placing dominoes into a grid using these logic cues. So for example here, there has to be a 1 in there. 2 different things that possibly go into. But before we do that, because it's dominoes, we know, and they are two-sided, we can start to figure out the shape of how they need to be put. Okay, so to make 20, one thing that I'm very aware of is we need to use the 5s. Just because, oh, not quite scroll properly, there we go. Pips is always laid out a bit weird, so it's very hard to get the screen to a place where it's comfortable for it to be viewed straight away. Because we don't have any 6s at all in our domino selection, the only way we can make 20 is using all 4 of the 5s. Which tells me that that has to be correct, and it also gives me that. Now, because this is greater than 3, means it has to be 4 or higher. We don't have a double 5 or a 5-6, so that has to be that. The only thing that's greater than 2 that's left now is this 3. Leaves that. So there is the easy pips for today. We'll move on to the medium. Okay. So the first thing I'm spotting is we don't have any dominoes that line up to 4 clips. Okay. Because none of the dominoes themselves are one of those. Never mind. It's what 4-0. I thought I was gonna get away with it here. We only have the 1 double, which will affect some of these. Greater than 4, we only have one domino that has a 5 on it. Because this is a 3, it is not less than 3, so it can't go there. This has to be a... So now, this one has to be a 1. How we end up using that 1 actually dictates a lot about the puzzle. So, for example, if we put it that way, then there has to be a 2 here. If we do it that way, the only way we can then start fitting things in is that. Yeah, because then we don't have enough blanks to be able to make this a 24. If we do it this way, then we're left with having to go like that, and then we don't have enough doubles to finish that. So then we end up with this, and the only way to put a double there is that, which actually we can't do because we do not have a second double to place there. So that tells me we have to start looking at ways of using this one. Again, ways to make 4. We can try something like this. 2 there. That one won't work. Again, because we don't have a double. So we need to find ways of creating a double with this. So yeah, that's gonna have to be like that. For less than 3, we end up with the 2s, this 1 and the 2 blanks that have to go here. We need to total this to 4. There is only 2 ways to do that. So unfortunately, we also still need to sort out this equals. If I do this, I end up with no way of making a 4. Can't do that. This, we don't have a double. Okay. And it's the only way that we can potentially do it is that form. We end up with blank there. That medium gave me a bit more trouble than I thought it would, but we did get there. So now we'll move on to the hard. Okay, right, that's a lot. So we've got quite a few that are equal. So first thing I need to do is, right, we only have the 1 double, which is going to have to go in here somewhere. Because it's the only way we can fit a double in. It's either it takes up these 2 or these 2. It's just the only way to fit it into that shape. And with it being the only double, that will actually tell us a lot about the rest of our geometry. So we know this. So that's actually given us all of our geometry, knowing that there's only 1 double here. We have this section where we require. So that gives me this. I only have 2 options that can go in here. 2s, but because this is greater than 2, that actually gives me only the 1. We still have a lot that can be used for 2 or greater than 2. We're left with pretty much just things that we've got multiple. Okay, so actually this 4, there's not many places that the 4 can go. It can either go here or here. Right, that is the... oh, or here I suppose actually. Didn't spot the second greater than 2. Okay. So for less than 2, we use the 0s and 1s. It's just the only way to make 1 or 0. What have we got left? We've got 3 of blanks. Where we know we're going to have to use 1 of the blanks here. There's still enough left for that. 6s. Yeah, so this is going to have to be blanks or 6s. Just going to make a of that. Actually, it's the only thing that we've got. Well, not 3 or more. Oh, I've just spotted 3 as well. Actually, never mind. So this can't be the 0s actually, because if it is 0s here, we don't have a double 0, and we know that we need to use a 0 here. 3s, we do have a 3 attached to a 0, the same with 6s. Okay, so that is the 6s. Let's just say that we've used all of the 6s. The moment we have to use one of these two to be over here. To get the less than 2. How many more equals do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. Okay, so the only numbers it can't be are 5, 2, 4. So they have to go elsewhere in the puzzle. Like different. Right, but we know that the 1 has to be used here, so things that we can use in, like we have 5 left. Numbers that can go in them are 0, 6, can't use the 1, 3. You only have the 1, 5. Okay. So we've got 4 of these. Need to use 1 of the 0s here. 1 at least. Something's not quite lining up here. Okay. Well, I'm going to experiment with this being 6. And then for this to stay less than 2, that has to be 0 something. We have a lot of options here. So if I go with one of the zeros, now if I go with like the 3, for example, then you need to use any of these 3s here. Okay, so that doesn't narrow things down. I do this, I literally can't use that one. I use the 6, that places our other 6 immediately. Which means it can't actually be the 6. I know that it can't be the 6 actually, because the 6s have to be up here, because I've started the 6s there. So that gives us 0, 2. We can't use. We also can't use 0, 1, so that would actually leave us only with 0, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5 that could be here. If I was to use this on this, I still have a 4 to go here. Doing it that way, I have to do that. Nope. Yeah, that does not work. Okay, so I'm going to try a different 6 there, because I like the idea of this being the 6s. So this means this has to be 1 or blank. If it's a blank, it can be either the 2 or 3. So if we use the 2, oh, it cannot be the 2, in fact. Because if we use the 2 here, then we need another 2, and we don't actually have it. If I use the 3, then I still have the 3, 4, and 3, 5 to be able to finish that. If I use the blank, then I am left with... When I say use the blank, I mean this. And the only thing left is this. This also does not work, because the moment I try to place this 6, we end up with it in equals. So I'm actually gonna try this with the 3s. I can't use the 3, 5 into anything that goes... It can't be the 3. Because the moment I try and place the 5, we don't have another 5 to go in either of the equals, and that's too big. So it will have to be the 6s. So... yeah, I'm gonna have to figure this out somehow. Yes, I am just wildly placing and hoping for the best right now. Sometimes trying to brute force it gets me to like a revelation. Okay, so now the only way that I can... I think I actually did accidentally brute force this. Yeah, I think I have, because that goes in 3, 5 here. Not too bad for ended up having to brute forcing it. Quite happy that I got there. Sometimes like it's just practically impossible for me to see the patterns in hard. But we did get there. So with that, we're going to move on to the Wordle, and I believe H has Artistic View has chosen our starting word of clips. I've just realised you guys haven't actually seen the trackers updating. Look like the script. Sorry about that. Okay, so we have an F. So if this isn't at the end, then it's likely to be at the beginning. But they don't tend to have words that are pluralized with an S, so we shall see. So let's try stone. Okay, so that has given us a lot. Let's try snore. Yeah, that was quite a lucky one. Yeah, I'd got there before the chat came through. That was a lucky one today. Like me going with stone after Artistic View gave us the starting word of clips. I think that's one of the fastest wordles that we've done on stream, actually. Oh, actually, we do quite a few at 6 because it tells us what our win distribution is. So most of the time, apparently, we win at 5 guesses. We've only had 3 where we've gone right to the end. Never guessed it in 1 or 2. We'd have to be a bit too lucky for that. So that's New York Times done. So with that, we'll go on to Daily Chess. So, because I didn't stream yesterday, we do have an additional daily chess to be able to do. So we'll start with that. I do occasionally struggle with daily chess because sometimes it's like 5-6 steps of moves that you need to be able to figure out. I can't always tell if it's trying to hunt material for like gameplay advantage or if it is going for just straight up checkmate. So we shall see. Blunderful opportunity. So first thing I am spotting is this. Ah! Got that straight away. Okay, so right, reset it. So the queen is currently stranded and not really doing anything for white. So there's a couple of ways that this can be approached. You can just start trying to eat up pawns and hope for them to blunder, but you can also force it. Because the moment the rook moves here, there's actually only 2 places that the king can move to get out of check, which is here or here. But what it was also doing, the moment we placed the rook there, is pinning the king to the queen. So the moment the king moves, queen has nothing defending it at all, and you can take it pretty much for free. And from there, you can just start eating up pawns, and you get the win. In fact, I wouldn't even start eating pawns with that one. I would just go up here and then take this one, and that would be mate. Because at this point, the only thing that they can do is try and push any of these pawns. They'd get here, Next, up here. Queen, drop down the rook. They take it, they lose it to the king, and then you eat everything. So yeah, we'll move on to the next one. Black to move. It's called push. Okay. Struggling to see this one. Alright, so first thing, like, I want to use a tactic here where we'd end up sacrificing the queen here, because they would have to take it with the bishop, really. Or if they choose not to and just push the king, you can push this pawn, and it is protected by this rook. Yeah, I think it's going to involve that. So you sacrifice there, you push this rook. They have to move, and then brilliant. Of course, I keep forgetting that my button on the tracker doesn't work. If I update them both manually. Okay, I'm pretty impressed with that one as well. So initially it was using. So the first thing it's using here is a tactic that's known as a battery. So that's when two long-range pieces like this are lined up. So the moment it gets sacrificed, because there's not enough looking at it, you can just do that. The only other way they could have tried to stop the check there would be sacrificing the queen, but they wouldn't get anything out of that. So you are left with a nice queen checkmate here, where you can't escape out the back because of the rook, and they can't take because of this one. Okay, so a lot of the clips do end up on my other social medias and on YouTube, because yes, she does a very good job with them. So yeah, now that we've done the daily puzzles, we'll move on to the more general puzzles. I always try and get the 3 daily solves, and then we'll do a handful. Usually until the streak ends, but I like to do... Oh, nice! Thanks very much for the subscription on YouTube. Yeah, I always try to do at least 6 puzzles total, or 6 fully solved ones. Okay, so black to move, looking for mate. I think this is as simple as pushing the rook back here. Yeah, because the moment the rook's here, it is defended by this bishop. Unfortunately, all of my socials just came from H pestering me about it. Otherwise, it would have been this and maybe a Facebook page. Okay, so if we move here, it is guarded by the bishop, so nothing can, and so the king can't take it, and there's nothing else that can. This will also stop the king from running out here or here because of it. It can't go here because of this bishop, or here because of this one. So that is... white to move, looking for mate. Okay, so we can get in here. We can get in here with the knight, and then the king can't run because of the queen. Actually, no, it would have to be here. Yeah, so yeah, it has to be here, because if we go here, the queen can take. So if we jump in here, the knight is completely safe, putting the king under check whilst the queen guards any escape. Black to move, looking for mate. It is not here, because the bishop can take as much as the knight is guarding. We can move here, but then that leaves these two open. Move here and threaten the rook. Yeah, I'm sorry about the ads. Speaking of, there's one coming up pretty soon. But, like, it's the only way that we can keep the lights on the channel. So if I go here, there's nothing stopping escape here and here. No, I'm struggling with this one. Didn't think it would be, so I'm gonna go think this. So it is a queen, but I can't actually see the mate. So I'm not gonna call that one a win. Why is there just a wall of pages for this? So, white calculator. Go here. They take pawn push because it can't escape either way because it. So that's the daily soul. Before we go on to waiting for the streak to end, we're about to hit an ad break. So just do that before we do a handful more. Welcome back. We've just finished the daily section of general puzzles, but we're going to carry on and do a handful more. What? Why do I need an emote wall? What's one of them? White to move, looking for. Okay, so I can run queen here, then all I'm going to use is escape cut off, and the king can't take it to the rook. What are we looking for? I think I can do it just like this. Yeah. Like, you guys have got on-screen chat, but and the way that, like, some of you have been posting emotes, like, it may as well be an emote ball. Okay, like, black to move. Looking for let's just run in with the queen. Bishop is stopping any escape, and the knight is guarding it. White to move, looking for mate. Okay, so this is guarded. Go here, then there's nothing stopping that escape. Same with here. Running the knight somewhere. Ooh, run the knight. Yeah. So run the knight back here. That does nothing guarding the rook. The end of the streak. Not seeing the way to get mate for this one. Go here, here, guarded, so it's here. This isn't guarded though. We go here, these are guarded, and so is this. Ah, there we go. So the reason that's mate is because the knight is guarding the rook. The rook is cutting off these two squares. The knight is cutting off this one, and the pawn cuts off this one. And none of the pieces that are attacking the king can be removed. Black to move, looking to win this bishop. So we have to use forcing moves somehow. So if I was to take this, I would open up that. I need to take the bishop here, and then the king is the only thing that can take it. And then you line up so that the rook is in threat. So you end up a lot of material. Because sure, you sacrifice the rook, which Gotham Chess would be very happy with, but now the only material they have is a queen and a handful of pawns. Which, if you play if you play properly, you can just start to eat them all, so that you can start pushing your own to promote. I think we'll do one more chess puzzle and then we'll go on to the telegraph. White to move, looking for mate. Okay, so with the knight being here, it is very tempting to just go here, but you will just get eaten by like bishop. If you go here, bishop gets you. Ooh. I can't see how the knight can move to. Oh. Oh, but if we just move here, that stops the king from being able to escape anywhere because the knight is guarding this square. And then you can move next to it. Okay, I'm pretty happy with how all the chess puzzles went. So we will move on to the telegraph. We don't do many puzzles on the telegraph because like we've already done Sudoku with Netflix. I struggle with the pangram. It is just, do I know words? And a lot of the time the answer is no. And I struggle with a lot of crosswords, to be honest. And code word, yeah, I struggle with crosswords and code words. But cogs, there is literally only the one Wordle a day. It is a daily puzzle. There are some Wordle variants that I could theoretically do. I'd have to dig them out and get OBS set up so that I could actually stream them though. And wow, Telegraph page does not want to play ball today. Or puzzles. This is not encouraging. Looks like we've had some technical difficulties with our connection. We should be back in a second. Sorry about that, everyone. We seem to have some connection issues, so we will try that again. So we're loading up today's cogs as we've gone through everything else that's on our rotation. Don't worry about the YouTube video being broken up. I will edit both clips together so that we are so the YouTube video, if anyone wants to go back and catch up on the rest of the episode, is all just going to be one up. So cogs is what if we had a load of 4x4 sections filling out a crossword, and we need to rotate them to be able to fill out the full crossword. I tend to start with trying to figure out some of the big ones by just trial and error until I've got one of them and I can lock it in, and then we work through the whole thing. I will have a look at some of the smaller ones first. So I think that's going to be actually that. It's that LF. It's confusing. Right, Sly, on the other hand, with an RS at the end of the word, makes sense. What else have I got? Oh, that feels like it could be right. Drive. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now that we've got some bits locked in, we can work around the rest of it. Okay, so nothing like that to start with. No, I was thinking that'd be wayward and it built. No, right. That could be wall. Okay, it's not gonna be that bit there. So we aid divinity. I think it's going to be there. Wanton. Wanton. Oh. So get in there. True love. Yeti here. Fabulous. There you go. Yeah, Fry originally was right, that LF was werewolf. But the cogs, they were pretty good. I like that one. Okay, so sorted is purely trivia. So I struggle with this one, and it ends up being a lot of trial and error. So we get 3 rounds of having to sort things like this. French Ballon d'Or winning footballers in order. Okay, so I don't follow football at all. I didn't even know that Zinedine Zidane was French. Or is this just a French award that people from any country can win? Jean-Pierre, like, definitely. Sounds like a French name. Platini, I don't know. Yes, this one is going to be entirely trial and error. And guesswork. Yeah, but I don't know that one. American founding fathers by given name alphabetically. Okay, so Benjamin Franklin is likely to be near the end. Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, I think, and I can't remember what his first name was, but yeah, I had to take a guess with Madison. But no, I happen to know the trivia for that one. And the final round, arches by size. Okay, I have no idea how big any of these arches are. I've never actually seen any. Actually, no, I might have seen the marble arch, that's quite small. Arc de Triomphe is a fairly big landmark. Do that. Okay. So Gateway Arch in St. Louis is the biggest. 2 attempts for a guess. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, and the last puzzle. So the plus word is a mini 5x5 crossword, but
but it also functions as Wordle clues. So the only parts we actually have clues for the full solve is this 5x5 grid. And then we have these 2 greens and these 2 yellows that will help us with words here. Or with a word here. We have no additional clues apart from the Wordle style ones. Make like a sheep. Is this going to be sheer? Duck down feather. Also have duck down quilts. Behave badly towards. Actually, no. I already have a clue for this. This is going to be upset because the U is the only thing that can hold the Q. Scouts mission recon. Yeah, recon, and then had a nap, fired. I don't think that's right, because I don't think that's a word. I don't know the river in Stoke. So let's just check the grid. Yay! Most of it is wrong. Great. So I think recon was the only thing I got right. Yeah. Fantastic. Right. 1 down. Grizzly animals. Okay, so that's bears. Bears. Down keyboard. Words that might lead to an action at speed. Doesn't fit. Fable writer. Aesop. Right, because of... is that wrong? Yeah, weird spelling. There we go. No? Never mind. So we are about to hit an ad break. I think this was going to be the last puzzle. So I guess you guys are getting some free Netflix ones as soon as I'm done with this. I'm just trying to find a way to pause it. Come on, guys. Why is there no pause? Right, so that's as close as I can get to pausing it. We'll quickly cut to break. It's because of the disconnect and reconnect. So yeah, we'll be back very shortly. welcome back. So we're just going to go back into the word. Okay, so I can't remember how to spell Aesop. I'm sorry, it's gotta be Aesop, right? Stokes River. Stuck on Trent. Okay, so I'm on the right path now. Is that Leet? Okay, so apparently, I just don't know how to pronounce. Well, I don't know how to spell Aesop at all. Is it meant to be Aesop? Like, I've always called him Aesop. Right, so what else have we got? Draw out. Nope. Words that might need to begin with L. Q's? Nope. Had a nap. Leapt. Yeah, okay, so now I just need to figure out. Right, I'm just looking through my keyboard trying to figure out what this word could be. Oh, that's going to be libel. Take legal action over libel, yeah. So, look down. I have no idea what this could be. No. Not good, but so far I know that that's a B. I will get given that one. There's going to be a U in it somewhere, that's all I know. I'm gonna have to look this up. I can't because it's weird logic ones. I'm gonna have to reveal that letter. Ida? A deuce? I don't even know those words. Right. So it can't, like, there's a lot that it can't be because we have a lot of letters, but it is not. So it can't be body. Body is the O. I think. I-O. So it's actually B. Yeah, because there wasn't another D for it to give us the yellow or the green, and there wasn't a Y. Okay. So I think that's it for Telegraph. Because I subjected you all to an extra ad thanks to the connection issues, we'll go back over to
Netflix, and we'll do a couple of these puzzles as bonuses. So I don't do the jigsaw and the shapes. I just don't find them very engaging as puzzles, but I don't mind the rest of them. It should be shown that we've done the Sudoku. Refresh. Okay, so it wants to give us an entirely different screen. I'll have to check what categories is all about after we log off the stream. But I'm gonna go and do some of these. So I like the crossover. This is a mini crossword with all the letters jumbled. You have to swap them around, and as you can see, it also has emojis, which act as their own word, which will form a partial word. Station known for its sweet, buttery. So, crustacean, lobster, crab. No. The largest mammals on the world. 2 whales. Blue. Blue quails. So I've accidentally got the audio. Hymn-like tune. Opera? Monthly housing charges. It's not bills. God of War pursued by Wonder Woman. That's Ares. King or queen, but not prince. Dude, where? A skill made sharp, honed. Messages that might be accompanied by siren emojis. Oh, alert. What good pitches might result in. Pitches in the sales pitch. Blue crab. Okay, so it's just being a weird one. So I knew it was crab right at the beginning. Okay, so I quite like the Waywards as well. This is a word search where we also have to build a path from the beginning to the end with words on the theme. This. So we get butterfly. Firefly. Cricket. Cicada. Just didn't drag it down far enough. Ladybug. I mean, it's not there, but look, there's an orangutan. So when you get a word that isn't on theme, you get a letter that it gives you a letter for free that is on the path, and it's not quite giving us an emoji; it's giving us the at symbol. So we get a gnat. We'll also do key smash. So we are given a load of words with all of their vowels removed, and we have to figure out what they are using a clue. Yes, I'm bad at checking chat because I'm solving puzzles. I do this because I like puzzles. Sorry. Okay, so this is going to be alone. Animal, sometimes called a sea cow. Man. Yeah. They say it can't change its stripes. Deborah? I didn't know it had a black tongue, but I can only think of it being a giraffe. Shakira's character and animal in Zootopia, so that's going to be a gazelle. I try, but like sometimes I'm just doing a puzzle and I don't notice. Like, and I only have the one monitor. Like, try the Bonzo. This is what if we had a solved themed Scrabble board and broke it down into jigsaw pieces. Okay, so let's see what we can figure out. So I was hoping it would be like koala or something, but I am a sneaking suspicion. Okay, so that's good. I guess we've got penguin. I think we're gonna get caribou here somewhere. Okay, so I've never had that before, but apparently you can get it right just using the wrong letters. Or the wrong piece. So I did get caribou. So now I just need to figure out what else there is. Okay. So I think we have narwhal. So let's do that one. Oh, apparently not. Oh, okay. So now I got walrus, not narwhal. Never mind. Penguin, caribou, walrus. That's gonna be puffin. Ah. Polar bear. Ah, and then the last one's reindeer. I'd say reindeer was probably the hardest one to find. Apparently polar bear was meant to be the star word for today. Okay, so the last one we're going to do is the combo. So this is a ladder word puzzle. So we'll start with sea turtle, we'll break it out, and we get given additional steps in between. I will find the links to get from C all the way to Turtle. Broken out. Let's see something that links to game. Controller? Yeah, game. See, sure game. No. Former mollusk home. Oh no, so I'm looking too far ahead. That's seashell. There we go. And shell game. Game boy. Toy. Fox and fox turtle. That must be a specific type of turtle. Didn't know. And that's your lot. That's all of the daily puzzles on Netflix that I actually do. I'm not keen on shapes and jigsaw. But, and you know, we've only got about 10 minutes before we would be getting into an ad break as well. So I think I'm gonna call it there. The two parts of today's episode will be knitted together into one for anyone who catches the reruns on YouTube. So for now, I will see you next time.